I think at a certain point you have to ask yourself, who am I? What do I want? And what do I have to offer? Because people, a lot of times, they get so sucked in by the availability of all these potential partners out there, so they can become serial daters, even though that wasn't their initial plan.
Did you push record?
Thanks for tuning back into Second Act TV. Robert Manni is joining me for another segment talking about love and relationships after 50. Robert, thanks so much for joining me.
Always a pleasure, Silka. Thank you.
We just finished a segment I thought was interesting on friends with benefits. We'll link to it, a topic that was brought up by a viewer, in addition to the question of serial daters. I haven't thought about that in a while, but the question is, why do men in particular indulge in serial dating, and what to do about it? And then when I Googled it, it is something that is attributed to a more recent, evolution, if you will, because of all the websites or the dating sites that encourage this fast-paced, this availability of people out there. And that can be a real issue, and something that people, I think, if you're just coming back out, our age, haven't dated for a while, need to be aware of this. Let's talk about that. What is a serial dater, and how do we deal with this?
Great question. And I think the question within the question is, what does serial mean? Because there are some people who like to play the field. And I think with today's technology that's available, obviously dating has changed. I mean, I met my wife on Match.com. She winked at me. We've been together for 10 years. It's fantastic. And you can, if you're a guy, you can meet tons of beautiful, really smart women while sitting at home in your tidy whities because of technology, where in the past you'd have to go up to them in the gym or the bar and like, hi, can I buy you whatever. It's a different world. So a lot of people are connecting for the first time technology wise. The downside of that is because they're so reliant on technology, the interpersonal skills have been kind of put to the side a little bit versus what, Joe Whiskey Breath had to do 20, 30 years ago. Like, hi, I'm Lou. Can I buy you a drink? There's something to be said to that. Now, serial dating back in the day, there wasn't as much serial dating unless somebody had kind of a personal issue where they didn't want to settle down, or they weren't comfortable with who they are, or they just want to have sex with a lot of women. I'm talking about it from a male standpoint. Nowadays, I think the quote unquote serial dating is just how people date. And I don't think it's limited to just guys. I think women are doing the same thing, where they're meeting up, they're hooking up, they're having coffee, they're having drinks, and then maybe they'll have some a relationship, or maybe they'll date a couple of people at once. And it's so easy to just keep moving. The pool is an endless, bottomless pool of daters out there, and it's very easy for people to fall into the deep end, particularly young people who've kind of grown up and gotten into the dating world through technology. So to me, the real issue is what is serial dating versus what is kind of playing the field and just taking advantage of what is out there. Because I can tell you from my online dating days, I met a lot of fantastic people, fantastic women. Some of them I'm still friends with in terms of, Facebook or whatever, but really cool people, some people from business now. And it's been a really good thing. Now, if you just have no attention span and you have no emotional intelligence or depth, and you just want to, date, and you double, triple, quadruple book every night, if you're a man or a woman, and it's just like going through the meat grinder, so to speak, and forgive the bad pun, I don't think that's a healthy, psychologically healthy way to behave. But you know what? The thing is, if you want to do that, you can do it. I think at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, who am I? What do I want? And what do I have to offer? Because people, a lot of times, they get so sucked in by the availability of all these potential partners out there, so they can become serial daters, even though that wasn't their initial plan. But if it's out there and it's like, wow, all these wonderful women, this is unbelievable. Hey, you know what? I get it. But you really have to, as a guy, you have to say, okay, hold back now. Do I want to just, I'm going to spend all my money if I serial date, number one. Number two, how many women can I juggle? What are their expectations? Are they serial dating also? And, if you're online dating, most of the time, the person you're online dating with may be dating somebody else. A real quick story. And then I'll be quiet. When I was dating my wife online, at a certain point, she said, "Why are you still online? I thought we were seeing each other." And that's when I stopped. I said, "That's the first person who brought that up. That's a perfectly legitimate question." And I asked myself, "Well, what am I doing looking out there if I found somebody who's really cool that I'm attracted to?" And I stopped, and that was it. But she had to be the one to say, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" And I think that's good. And I think women should do that if they're interested in the guy and he can't stop serial dating.
Great point you just brought up, and I think that's where the difference is in just dating a lot and the quote serial dater. To me, the serial dating implies that there is some sort of psychological imbalance with this person, because they just don't want to get close. They come on really strong, super strong, to where you feel like you're at the center of their universe, but they're all talk and no do. They will not include you in their
Hmm.
life, which I think is one of the signs of is this
You know
a.
what? There's forgive me, but I want to get this out before it drifted by, and that is that there's a difference when you stop if you're online and then you pull yourself off the system for a while, if you will, and you're out of the game. That doesn't mean you're going to marry that person. That just means that some people like to date one person at a time. Is this right or wrong? I don't know. Whatever works for that person. Some people can juggle. Other people can take one ball and throw it up in the air and catch it. So it's whatever fits your personal lifestyle and who you are. So forgive me, I just want to get that out there because it was sliding by.
Yeah, no. That is a great point. I think, in some sense, I think this segment is probably more advice for women. I think I mean, it goes both ways, granted, but I think that it's still somewhat of a. When I think of a serial dater, I still think more, and maybe because I'm a woman, I think more of, it's the guy's role. But
I don't necessarily agree with you on that. I think that there are a lot of women out there that's figured, hey, this is a good situation. I can meet all these different guys. I can check out a lot of different guys and what they've got to offer, and probably a lot of it will be on the guy's dime initially. And they're having fun, and it's like a networking thing. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I think both men and women are leveraging the system because it's available, because they can. And that's just human nature. And if you're a woman, as a guy, I'll say, my advice to you would be if you think the guy's a serial dater, just check out, see what his activity is online. Ask him if you're interested and you guys seem to be vibing and you've been intimate of a few times or whatever, and it's like this could turn into something. There's nothing wrong with saying,
well,
hey, where do you think this is? Where do you think we're going,
yeah, well,
if anywhere?
just like what your wife did, because that's one of the signs that is written about out there, is that when you bring it up, then hey, I thought we were or we're heading somewhere, and you're not. That's a huge sign. If they're that again falls under the serial dating, to where then the other person, I won't call it the man, the relationship ends. A serial dater, again, by definition, maybe I'm harping on definition too much. It's the German in me. I sloth things, but by definition, the serial dater is the one to always leave the relationship as soon as it starts getting emotional or there's commitment. They don't want to be the ones to be
I agree.
to be the ones who are left. So that's what I mean by there's some emotional, maybe some psychological imbalance there. And if you're out there looking for a relationship, and you're all of a sudden you meet this person that just goes way overboard, spends hours with you up front. Wow, I've never met anybody like you, and it just seems too much and too good to be true. That is an indication that it could be a quote unquote serial dater, and then all of a sudden they fall off the radar.
Well, somebody could be sincere and not fall off the radar. So I don't know if showing interest or is a bad thing up front. You want some interest, and
Yes.
I think most women want men to be men in the best sense of the word, and they want them to have a plan, and they want them to pursue the lady a little bit. I think that's a good thing because nowadays, if you're a guy, you can kind of sit back. A lot of the women are figured, hey, if I don't make a move, no, that she will. So I better get out there, and it's tough. It puts a really tough situation for women. But I think if you're a woman and you're concerned that the guy you're with may be a serial dater, you have to really get to the bottom of it pretty quickly before your feelings potentially get hurt. And if the guy's hit and run and it's just all about here's my technique, here's my conquest quest, there's another pelt on the wall and then I keep going. That's not a good thing. That's just that's that guy being kind of a jerk. And can guys do that? Yes, they can. Do they do that? Yes, they can. But not every guy does that.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
have to use your own filter.
yeah, and serial dating again to me, it's not necessarily even about sex. It doesn't mean that you're getting laid, every time you go on a date. It's almost the getting this person to emotionally attach to you, and you remain in control of that.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm getting too deep into the psychological end of it, but that's why, again, if you're out there looking for a relationship, be aware of those signs. To me, and I think I had one of the guys I dated on early was kind of like that. Maybe that's why I'm thinking about it more personally too, because again, kind of way overboard. All of a sudden I was like the love of his life,
Hmm.
and then I know he was a serial
Well, yeah.
dater.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's some psychological issues that the person has with themselves.
Hmm.
But I think, if you're a woman, I think invariably, it's going to, there'll be sex involved. It's not just about that power is not just going to come from, I've got her interested in me. It's got to be, I've had sex with her and she's interested in me, or I got her interested in me and then I had sex with her and then I went off. There's got to be, I think there's a moment, inciting incident for the guy where sex becomes a check, and then that becomes a pivot point for a lot of men who are players.
Yeah, it continues to be just a interesting, complicated topic. All this starting over again, what to look out for, what to be aware of. We are coming to the end of the segment, Robert. What would you add on this topic?
I would just say, for the ladies out there, it is very tough, and you've got not only to compete with the, people of all ages, but then you also with each other. It's some women or nowadays are going to be more aggressive and go after the guys, and maybe you didn't grow up that way, and now things are different, and you have to really take a step back and really examine who you are, what you want, what you have to offer, and then make sure you have a lot of self-respect and really love yourself before you get out there, because the most important person in all of this is you.
I agree. And on that, Robert, we'll see you soon again on Second Act TV.
All right. Thank you, Silka. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching, and please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too. We'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.